Good evening. Tonight, the Kings finish off a 4-game road trip in Utah, looking to make it a clean 4-0 sweep on the road against the Jazz, an undermanned Jazz. We can get into that a little bit more, but this is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
Audio Jungle.
Good evening. I'm Ryno in Sacktown, Ryan in Sacktown, whatever you want to call me. Go by a lot of things these days. But hey, thanks for joining the pregame show. Want to remind you, we've got coverage all night long tonight of the Kings and the Jazz. We are Sacramento's game day destination for your Kings coverage. Grant will be here at halftime and on the postgame show to recap everything going on. And if you don't know yet, go to grantnapier.com, or if you don't like that.com, and pick up your Grant Napier shirts. They are just over my shoulder right here. We'll put one up for you too, because it's got the nice little, oh boy. But yes, go pick those up. Again, if you don't like that.com or grantnapier.com, both work. So go check those out in between the shows. But yeah, thanks again for joining me tonight. The Kings wrapping up this quick road trip. And man, are they hitting on all cylinders right now? Yes, indeed, Nico. Light the beam. Let's light the beam tonight, baby. They're hitting on all cylinders. And boy, oh boy, have the Kings gotten lucky. I mean, really, really lucky with the oppositions ever since the All-Star break. I mean, a lot of guys have missed time against the Kings. When the Kings roll into town or the other team rolls into Sacramento, for whatever reason, their starters are not playing. And so tonight, no different. Utah's all-star, Lauri Markkanen, he is out. Colin Sexton is out. Jordan Clarkson is out, all for the Jazz. This is a game that there should be no question on paper that the Kings should roll tonight. Kevin Huerter, still day-to-day. He was listed as doubtful late this afternoon. Same thing with Trey Lyles. He's listed as doubtful as well. We'll see what happens. Usually the starting lineups come out anywhere in the next 15, 20 minutes. What is going on, Tim? Yeah, we gotta win tonight, man. It has got to happen. So get your chats in here. Love to have a conversation with you. But Utah comes into this one 34-36. So they have exceeded expectations. It was supposed to be a little bit of a rebuilding year for Utah. And, Markkanen, huge surprise, took a huge step this year. Again, an all-star. So that really got them going. And they have played solid all year. They're looking to make that play in. And don't look now, but Utah can be a very, very good team here in the near future, especially with the draft picks that Danny Ainge has basically gotten his war chest for that trade with Rudy Gobert, trade for Rudy Gobert. So a couple games of note that we're watching tonight. Memphis, that's a big one. Memphis is playing right now. They are playing Dallas. Last I checked, Memphis was up 10. It was tied at 8. Also of note right now going on in New York. Let me get the exact scores up for you. I'm slacking here, guys. I am slacking. In New York, the big one, the Timberwolves, they are up big right now in the second quarter. They're up 13. So we are tracking those really, really closely. MJ, you're already getting your scores in here, huh? All right. You're saying 131, 105 tonight. It should be interesting because this is a game where there is not going to be a lot of defense. Utah is 24th in the NBA in defense, and that's when they're at full strength. So we all know what the Kings do on defense, and it's not usually that great. So, with Utah missing their leading scorers, basically their core, the Kings could put up a decent amount of a decent amount of points, easy. So 131 could be more than that. We'll see. Let's see. John, what's up, my man? I appreciate it. No, I cannot. I wish I could. What are you cooking, John? Let me guess. I'm gonna say it's got to be red meat. I'm gonna go red meat. I'm gonna say you got a tri-tip on, John. You got a tri-tip on? Yeah, I think it's a tri-tip. Let me know in the chat. But you're the best, John. Thanks so much for tuning in. So yeah, getting back to the game, the Kings, they've got to win this one, guys. Especially they're on a back-to-back. So well, they're not on a back-to-back tonight. This is a start of a back-to-back. Tomorrow night, they've got Boston rolling into Sacktown. Wouldn't it be nice to greet the Kings coming off of a 4-0 record and just having them in the building going crazy at G1 and have Boston Celtics on the floor and beat one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference that is struggling right now. So that we don't want to look too far ahead because we know the Kings' MO. A lot of times they can play down to their competition, but since the All-Star break, they have not been doing that. So that has been extremely encouraging. Good news too. I don't know about everybody else. I was worried about Domas's hand in last game. So usually, like if Domas gets banged up, he'll kind of baby it for a second, or you'll see him favor it for a second, kind of shake it off a little bit, and then he's good to go. You don't think anything of it afterwards. But he was really working that hand out, and coming off the left hand injury, it got me, or the right hand injury, excuse me, it got me really, really worried about that left hand. But that being said, he's not listed on the injury report whatsoever. So he is a full go, and he's going to have his hands full tonight. Walker Kessler, or excuse me, Utah's big man. I'll pull his name up in a second. But Utah's big man is really, really talented for a rookie. He's a 7-footer, and he does a little bit of everything. And he could give Domas a little bit of a run for his money. But, Domas, the crafty veteran, great footwork, great fundamentals, likely will be utilizing those against him. Look for some pump fakes, try to get him into foul trouble. But, I look at this Jazz roster right now, and I mean, you're going to see some guys that are going to get some opportunities that don't usually play. They still have Rudy Gay, ex-King. So Rudy will be in there getting things going for the Jazz. I mean, you can always look at him. And I was right, by the way, Walker Kessler. I just didn't want to get confused because we have a Kessler too. Walker Kessler is their center, but he's solid as they come for a rookie, like I said. And also Kelly Olynyk, veteran, knows what he is doing. John, you got the beer can chicken. That is always a solid choice, man. I enjoy it. Wish I could be smelling it. Oh, MJ, he's cooking too. MJ, we're going to turn this into a cooking show. MJ's got the pork chops and the applesauce. MJ, you ever think about going bacon wrapped on those pork chops? Let me know. Let's get this one in. Logan, yes. Wait, Ryan, have you ever been on the Smack Off on the Jim Rome show? I have not been on the Smack Off. I have been, and it was kind of a joke on me. He put me in the Hack Off. And what happened was I had been on hold, and then a bunch of other hacks called in. And he even said, he goes, Ryan, I know that you don't belong in this, but you're going to be in it anyway. So I've been in a Hack Off, and the winner of the Hack Off ends up in the Smack Off, but not a Smack Off yet, but maybe we'll see. Nico, yes, we don't have a full update. I'll double check here in a second, but they were listed as doubtful as of a couple hours ago. And, the Kings have actually done themselves a solid here. they've put themselves in a position where they don't have to force the issue with a Kevin Herter. They don't have to force the issue with the Trey Lyles. If one of them are banged up, both of them are banged up, then they have the liberty of letting them heal up. So you don't have a nagging injury, and they have that liberty because they've really padded their cushion in the West. I mean, sure, the Kings are in the battle for the 2 seed and possibly even the 1 seed, depending on whether or not Denver gets back on track. But at this point, there's not anybody else that's likely going to catch them after that. I think it's a 5-game separation between 2, 3, and then 4. So, if they need to give those guys rest, give them some rest. But we'll see. The starting lineup should be coming out here in a little bit. And then the official, who's in, who's out will be coming out. Dude, we're getting more food updates. MJ, mac and cheese. All right, buddy. I see you. You got it. Yes, it's got to be a little crispy. Little panko on top. Broil it. Get it crispy. Here we go. John and I love to cook. I guess MJ's in the club too. So, anyways, what's everybody's thoughts on last game and what you saw? It was pretty much a overwhelming victory for the Kings. That was one game that they thought the Kings could get tripped up a little bit between the back-to-back with Brooklyn and then going into Washington possibly. But it was just a wire-to-wire finish. It was wire-to-wire win, really, is what it was. The Wizards, it was one of those games that I felt like the Kings never had a chance to lose while I was watching it. And they had their struggles here and there. Kessler Edwards struggled a little bit in that starting role right off the bat, but he eventually got going, and the entire team got going. My concern coming out of that game is I do not like how long the starters were left in. I do not like how Sabonis was left in because we were unsure about what was going on with that hand. Obviously, we're the fans, we're watching. We defer to the doctors and the trainers and the coach because they have all that information. But it was a little odd when the hand injury happened, or when he hurt his hand, that he shot those free throws and he wasn't brought out, and he was favoring that hand heavily. And they kept him in, let him play, and he played through it. But it's one of those things. I would have expected, though, when you're up 20, especially against a team like Washington, that you get the starters out, or at least you get some of them out. Sabonis, definitely. Fox, definitely. But that's Coach Brown's prerogative. But you do have to remember that the Sabonis injury, the first one, did happen also against the Wizards, and it happened in that same kind of time period where the game was out of hand. And that became a little bit of a question. Lights has an update. Light says he has heard that Herter, let's see, I heard no Herter tonight, but Trey plays. Okay, well, there's Lights right there with an update, helping me out on the show. I appreciate that, buddy. Davis and Keegan were very impressive. Yeah, they were. They absolutely were. Davis, he's hot and cold. The thing about him is, which is, I have a lot of respect for a player like that is absolutely ready to go when his name's called, when you haven't played in a game or two. And that's exactly what he does. I do question his shot selection at times. And I think if he ends up getting minutes in the postseason, he needs to be a little bit more selective with the shots that he takes, because possessions are going to be at a premium in the postseason. And, the Kings, they're usually averaging anywhere between 85 and 100 shots a game. And postseason, you can cut that down to probably 80 to 85 at most. So you got to take care of those. You got to take care of the ball, and you absolutely have to value the possessions and the shots that you get. Impressive. Yeah, I was talking about impressive for the Kings. Kuzma. Yeah, Kuzma is going to do his thing. I wasn't saying that the Wizards were impressive. My bad for that. Yeah, exactly, Cody. When Terrence he gets hot. Absolutely. Absolutely. MJ, we got another message about load management when the Kings get those leads. Yep. No. They need to manage the starters. So load management is when you just don't play the player at all, and there's no reason not to. I would expect now. Grant and I have talked about this many times on the halftime and post game, usually the post game show. I would expect the Kings to ramp the minutes down a little bit for Fox and Sabonis as we get closer to the end of the season, assuming that they are, wrapped in to a 2 or a 3 seed. If they're sniffing the 1 seed, and that's a possibility, could be a completely different scenario. But if their opponent is locked in, if the Kings are at a specific seed and it doesn't look like Memphis is going to pass them, then they'll probably try to slow them down a little bit. And the advantage of that, too, is who you're going to be playing during the play-in tournament. You don't have to worry about who comes out of the play-in tournament. You have that time to be able to scout the other team and get ready for the other team, as opposed to waiting to see who that play-in team's going to be and, have to take them on. So that is always an advantage. Yep, Terrence, we already saw that one. Cody, let's see. No fans want national recognition, but this team, but let's be unsuspecting team that, yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. The cat's out of the bag on this team. They're not unsuspecting anymore. You heard 3 weeks ago, as recently as 3 weeks ago, LeBron saying we want the Kings. Still not a lot of national run. I think it was Grant that said, hey, you Kings fans, you want national run? Wait till they play New York. And if they beat New York on national TV, it's off to the races. And, that's exactly what it is. In fact, I don't think this is going to happen to this team, but I don't want the national run and even the fan base. I don't want all this national run to inflate, the fan base and what they think about the team and inflate their expectations. I don't want to inflate the egos of the team, and I don't think it will. But in terms of, being that low key, unsuspecting team, that's done. The Kings are on everybody's radar at this point, and there are some teams. Do not get me wrong; they want to play the Kings still in the first round with the way the Kings are playing. Grant is getting ready for the halftime and the postgame show. I carry the pregame show, so thanks for tuning in. Grant will be here at halftime and postgame. Not sure what that one says. That's from 1140. Kings will win tonight 4-0 on the road trip, says Peter. Oh, there you go, MJ. I like that. Who is that, by the way? Yeah, who is that? That is the exact attitude that I like to see. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Yeah, let's keep him humble. Absolutely. And I think Mike Brown will do that. I mean, we've seen that all year. Mike Brown does not, it doesn't matter if it's De'Aaron, it doesn't matter if it's Sabonis, it doesn't matter if it's Delly. If you make a mistake, he will call one of those quick timeouts and he will pull you back on the court and coach you up in front of 18,000 people and tell you exactly what you did wrong. So I think there's a level of humility there that this team has and accountability, which we definitely know. I mean, look at even after the New York game, what happened with the rebounds and Mike Brown calling everybody out from top to bottom, and how the team responded. They responded huge. Let's see. All right, I got you, Manny. What would be the best matchup for the Kings? Worst matchup? Worst is easy. The Warriors. I do not want the Warriors, and this is why it's funny with the Warriors. You would think it would be a good matchup because similar styles, right? Pace would be better, or the pace is in favor of the Kings. You don't have to worry about a team slowing you down, but they are the defending champions. Let's not forget that. The Warriors are still the defending champions. I know things are still up in the air with Andrew Wiggins, whether or not he's going to be returning to the Warriors. But when you got Steph Curry across the court from you and Draymond Green, that's tough. So the Warriors, and let's throw this in, there's not going to be any home and away for that series. I mean, those teams are so close together that the fans are going to be, those are going to be equal arenas. As much as you don't want to believe it, there will still be a lot of Warriors fans that pack Golden One Center and pay the big bucks to be there for the playoff games. So season ticket holders, do not sell your tickets to any Warriors fans if that ends up being the series. The team that I want to see, two teams. I would like to see the Clippers. I think the Kings match up very well with the Clippers. I think the Clippers are older and they cannot keep up with the Kings' pace. I know they had the shootout, the 176, 175, but there's just something about the way the Kings match up with them that I really, really like. The other team that I'd like to see is Oklahoma City if they sneak in. Oklahoma City, to me, don't get me wrong, SGA, stud. But outside of SGA, we saw that Oklahoma City is a much different team. I know they've got Giddey and some other pieces, and they've got Holmgren that's going to be coming next year, but that's next year. So if you could find a way to take away SGA or just let SGA get his, I think that the Kings would do well with them. So we'll scroll back up. Let's see. If you could bring one role player back from the 2002 to 2003 squad, who would I choose to bring onto this team? Good question. Scott Pollard. I would want Scott Pollard, 100%. Somebody that is a hustler, a leader for that second unit, somebody that is chippy, that's not going to take any, you know what. He would be my choice far and away. I guess a close second would be Doug Christie, but in a funny sort of way, I kind of feel like, and this is a massive stretch, but I feel like down the road, Kessler Edwards could kind of be that Doug Christie player where he's like a Bruce Bowen. He just annoys the hell out of you and just frustrates you, gets you off your game. We've seen Kessler come in. He's thrown off some really good players already this season. I say this season, which has been relatively short held on the Kings. He got Chris Middleton off of his game. He did a better job than anybody else on DeMar DeRozan. So he is a guy that can be that guy. Cody, were you happy when the Kings elected to move on from Dave Yeager, hire Luke Walton? No, I was not. If you remember, that was actually the Kings' best year during this 16-year stretch. Other than obviously this year, I thought Yeags was a really good coach for that team. They were above 500 for a while and flirting with the playoffs. And even when they were on that run and then they lost, or they didn't lose, excuse me. Even after they had that good run, they were a few games over 500, and then they just went on that massive, massive losing streak. They still were flirting with the playoffs. It's unfortunate what happened with Dave Yeager. I did not like the Luke Walton hire from the beginning, and I am a Walton fan. I have nothing against the Waltons. I know Chris Walton, Luke's brother. I've met Bill a bunch of times because I played with Chris at SDSU, and Luke would be around. They're all cool people, but my opinion was Luke was not ready for that role. And, he had that hot streak with the Warriors, but it was the Warriors at that time. And Cody, I could probably give you a basketball. You could roll it out for the Warriors and they still would have won 30 games in a row. So, Jaeger, there was an issue internally. I don't know exactly what it was, but no, I was not a fan of that whatsoever. Okay, we keep getting the questions. Where is Grant? First time viewer. Thank you very much for tuning in. Grant is actually doing the halftime and the post game shows, and I'm on there with him. Those are his shows, and I get to come on and do the pregame shows. But thanks for just giving it a try. That's all we can ask. If you don't like it, no worries. But yeah, we like to have a fun time. But come back, check us out at halftime and post game. So, anyways, so much postseason experience. Yeah. Uh, you guys must have been chatting about something back and forth there. So, anyways, I got to remind you about our favorite spot, Bennett's locations in Roseville, Sacramento, off of Howe and Arden, and a new location opening soon in the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland. Go check out Bennett's. We rave and we rant about how good their menu and their food is, but it truly is. Bennett's is one of our favorite places to dine. They've got prime cuts of steak. I love the bone-in ribeye. Also, am a huge fan of the redfish. They've got a big menu. Also have a great weekend brunch, a Sunday prime rib special. They've got everything, and you get big portions too. So go check out Bennett's. Brian Bennett, the owner, huge supporter of this show, huge supporter of the Sacramento Kings. Go give them a try. Promise you will not be disappointed. Bennett's locations in Roseville, Sacramento, and soon to come in Rockland. All right. So again, Kings on the floor right now, getting all warmed up. It looks like Herder is out, as was mentioned earlier in the show, and we're getting ready, getting closer and closer to tip off. How's everybody's brackets doing? I'm interested about that. This has been a crazy weekend. Eduardo, hola. I see you in the chat. Thanks for showing up. No, Kevin is not going to be available, was the latest update that we heard. Here we go. And last name Bennett. The owner, Brian, came into my shop a few times. Very nice guy as well. Yeah, Brian is awesome. For those that don't know, Brian did a lot with Grant for Grant's golf tournaments, here's charity tournaments in Sacramento. And also when we had our charity event at Bennett's, Brian could not have been more accommodating and awesome to everybody. That was the one where we raised close to $16,000, which meant Grant and I had to get our heads shaved. But it was a ton of fun and an awesome event, and we were so happy to do it at Bennett's. But yeah, Brian is an awesome guy. So some people saying I don't care about college. Totally get that. Yeah, bracket busted the first day. There you go. Guerrero, Trey Lyles, I'm not sure. I've got to double check right now. I'm doing double duty, checking the computer and being on with you guys. He was listed as doubtful earlier today, but some people are saying that he is going to play tonight. So I will double up and check that. Thank you very much, Eduardo. I appreciate it, buddy. Really appreciate that. Lyle's available, hurt or not. So yes, there you go. Lyle's is available. Kevin is not tonight, which will be fine. I'm guessing Kessler will get the start again at 2. I haven't seen that officially, but that would make a lot of sense to me, just because, you want to get him a little bit more run in that role. He struggled a little bit right off the bat, but then got all in and good to go as the game went on. Yeah, MJ, you think it's gonna be a huge game. I can't wait for that one. We will see what they do. I mean, it should be. Here's the interesting thing about that matchup: SDSU does not score a lot, more defensive minded, and Bama can fill it up. So it's going to be a really good battle. really, really good battle. Some people are giving their picks, UCLA. College basketball season. It's just like the NBA, basically, except not as many games. And then they have conference tournaments that decide who goes on. Well, you get one automatic bid usually from the conference tournament. I don't know. You got to check StubHub and all that. But Eli was saying that tickets right now are in the neighborhood of about $1,300 was the lowest that they were. So check StubHub for that stuff. Let's see. Sorry guys, these are moving so fast. Wanted to get to Donald. If the Kings do match up with the Warriors, do you think Coach Brown and Barnes will help with the lack of playoff experience for this team? Yeah, I mean Barnes, he's an NBA champion, so he's been through it. Don't forget about Domas. Domas has been through it. Coach Brown, yeah, certainly to have somebody that has been there. You know, I don't know if you remember before the season started, Steve Kerr said that Mike Brown had a job with him for as long as he wanted. He was tenured. So he would have him back as the assistant head coach for as long as Mike Brown wanted. So, yeah, in the way that it works in the NBA, just so you know, every team are like, 4-game, 5-game rotations. Each coach takes a turn scouting an opponent. So, all of these guys are doing head coach work at some point, and then they present the game plan to the team. And obviously, Coach Brown fine tunes and is a part of that. But, the assistant coaches are doing a ton, just like a head coach would do in terms of scouting and watching film and pointing things out to the players. So, yeah, I think both of them will be huge assets once playoff time rolls around. And the other thing that's going to be big, too, think about this. The Kings have played in a lot of big games already this year. Arguably played in the biggest, most exciting game, best game of the year against the Clippers. So they've been on some decent stages. I know we'd like to see them a little bit more on national TV than we have, but they've won both times. And, that Brooklyn game, that was complete dominance. So, yeah, let's see. Got another comment. Kings will know if Memphis wins or loses before they finish the game. Do you think they're... No, not at all. I don't think so. The Kings, and especially Coach Brown is all about handle your business and the rest will fall into place. So I don't think they're scoreboard watching whatsoever. And there's a lot of real estate left in this season. We still have a couple weeks left to go. So I highly doubt that they will be watching that. Yes, Will, thank you. Get everybody fired up. Hit the like button, please. And also, because we are on Grant's channel, please also subscribe if you have not. You know what? It's been amazing. We've had close to 30,000 people between all the different shows lately, and we can't thank you enough. I know I sound like a broken record, but there's so many people, just like the gentleman earlier tonight, never seen the show before, didn't know Grant was on a channel, didn't know he was doing something. Tell a friend. Let's get more people here. We want to be the destination for the game day coverage for the Kings. So thank you, Will, for reminding me. Cool. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be huge. Celtics have not been playing well, so we'll see what the Kings do. But before we get to the Celtics, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Kings still have the Jazz tonight. Utah, they play well at home. Obviously, for those just joining us, Utah is basically missing their core all-star. Lauri Markkanen will be out. Colin Sexton is out, and also Jordan is out as well. So it's going to be, it's bare bones for Utah. Walker Kessler, their rookie center, is going to be a go-to guy, but that's going to be a fun matchup to watch with Sabonis. Jordan Clarkson, sorry about the way, guys. Didn't finish my thought there. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, Kings, Kings, Kings. Yes, sir. And Grant will be here at halftime, and Grant will be here for the post game. So we will have fun as always. And we got to start thinking of some good rants. What do you guys want to see him rant about? That T-shirt rant was legendary. And by the way, you can get your T-shirts at grantnapier.com or if you don't like that.com. But we got to start thinking of some good rants for the big guy. The boss, we got to give him some good ones. We've had some decent ones lately, but let's get him going with some good rant ideas for sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate that as always. This is just as much your show as it is my show. You guys come in with all these great comments, and it's always a great conversation. And I'm actually flirting with a little bit of an idea. So, you know what? I'll bounce that off you right now. Would you guys want to do phone calls? Would you guys want to do anything where you may pop up on screen and ask a question, kind of debate? Let me know your thoughts. Give me a 1 for yes and a 2 for no in the comments. Make it nice and easy. So let me know if you think that would be fun. I don't know. Is that what it says on the website? If so, cool. By the way, with the t-shirts, we've got new designs that are going to be coming out as well, but you want to make sure that you get the first round of t-shirts. These are going to be the OG's first ones. And Grant is actually going to be debuting a new thing tonight on the show or on the post-game show. So stay tuned for that. He will make that announcement. So we can't wait for that. Yeah, I know they're going out, so we can't wait for you to have them. Make sure you tune in for Grant's little announcement for what he's going to do going forward on the post game show. Do I think it's going to be a letdown game? And by the way, I see all the ones. Love it. Thank you. So maybe we will institute that. I think that would be fun. And that would just be for the pregame show. But I would love to get you guys in here if you want to. And we can make this more interactive than just typing and answering. Let's see. Do you think this will be a letdown game? No, I don't. But I did say that I thought this was going to be the game that the Kings would lose on the road trip. That was before I knew that Marketing, Jordan Clarkson, and also Colin Sexton were going to be out tonight. So you're funny, MC. You are funny, buddy. I like how you spell one. Good job. So do I think it's going to be a letdown? No, I don't. I don't. I feel like this team is past this. And the telltale sign for this team is going to be the start of the game. You can always tell, and it goes without saying, you can tell how a team's going to play by the way they come out. But this team in general, you just get that feel right off the bat on how they're grooving. You can tell if it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be back and forth and, they're going to have to make a run at the end or, they're going to have to, do A, B, C, D, and E, or they're just going to roll. This team just has that it about them when it comes to how they start games. And so if they start this game where they're just clicking and doing well, no, there's not going to be an issue at all. It's going to give me the same feeling that I had, in a couple of the other games on this road trip, that I just felt there's no way the Kings lose this game whatsoever. And that held true. But, you never know. That's why they play the game. But this should be a dub all the way across. So I am seeing some rant ideas. I really like that. Do I think Kings will catch the Nuggets for the 1 seed? I don't know. Possible. Well, I didn't think it was possible the Nuggets would go on this losing streak the way they have and the way that they've been playing with Coach Malone. I thought it would get straightened out. It hasn't yet. But at the same time, the Kings, And yeah, it could. And that's why games like this are going to matter the most. The games that you could have a letdown, the games you are supposed to win. Utah is got their starting lineup up. It is drastically different. Again, Walker Kessler, Olynyk, basically headline that. It's going to be, these are the games you have to win. But what I will say is if Denver continues to kind of putter around, it's only a 3-game lead right now in the West. And you have to remember, if it comes down to that final game in Denver, the Kings only need to be 1 game back because they would make up a full game if they win that game. And that would give them the tiebreaker against Denver because right now they are split on the season 1-1. So, yeah, it could happen. We will see. We will see indeed. Okay, let's start getting your scores in here really quick. While we have a few minutes before they get ready to tip off, De'Aaron Fox is all smiles right now, going through the layup lines. Let's see. All right, give me your scores. And I took down your rant ideas, so we will run those by the boss man himself. Oh, cool. Let's see. My son Joaquin is at the game in Salt Lake City with your 4 grandchildren in Kings gear. Oh, really? Very cool. They drove from Idaho Falls. Well, I hope they have an awesome time and they get to see the Kings win and they have a safe drive home. Very cool, Rich. Hope that leg's doing good too, buddy. I have family in Idaho as well, so that is funny. All right, let's get some scores up. Here we go. We got Kings 124, Jazz 114. We've got Kings 119, Jazz 114. Coming fast and furious. Kings 132, 113. We've got 136, 119. We've got 125, 113. Let's see, 126, 111. So just so you know, Lights, winning score goes first. Kings 123, 109. Don't do that with Grant. He'll rant on you. Let's see. I know I missed a couple up here. 127, 120. So overwhelmingly Kings. We think it's going to be it's going to be a double-digit win, pretty much, is what the consensus is. I agree with you on that. I'll give you my final score at halftime. In the meantime, let's go ahead and check in really quick with the scores going on right now, because 2 of them definitely affect what is going on with the Kings and playoff standings. Right now, the Pacers hold a 2-point lead over the Hornets at the end of the third. The Bulls, they're up 2 on the 76ers. 76ers, hottest team in the NBA right now. In the fourth quarter, the Timberwolves are up big on the Knicks, 88-72. So that is one we were definitely paying attention to. The Warriors, 52-44 over the Rockets with 148 left in the second quarter. And in the second quarter, close game in Memphis, the Mavericks up 3 over the Grizzlies, 49-46. So those are all games we're paying attention to. You know, the Warriors, awful road record. And the Rockets, how about them? Ever since getting eliminated from the playoffs, they've actually pulled off a couple decent wins. But we're keeping our eyes on 3 of those games. So we will keep you updated on those. All right, we're getting closer and closer to tip-off. So I will go to the drawing board, and since it was overwhelmingly ones about trying to do something a little bit more interactive here on the pregame, maybe I will have an announcement on the next pregame show. So thank you for your feedback. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, last minute comments. Do you have to correctly guess both scores to win? Well, we ask you for both scores. No, you have to guess the Kings winning. The Kings have to win, and you have to have the Kings winning score. That's what it was. And if Grant's feeling generous, maybe he'll go with the other teams. But usually it's the Kings winning score. Yeah, I'm with you, Cody. Hopefully they do. That's not a very big lead, and we've seen the Rockets actually fill it up pretty quick sometimes. So, but the Timberwolves look like they're going to take care of business in New York, but New York is on a little run now. It's only a 10-point game. And I guess the one really to watch is going to be that Mavericks Grizzlies. That's the big one for us. So we will see. All right. Let's see. What is the last game of the season? What if? Yeah, that would be crazy. And that's a funny situation, right? Because there's some people that think even if it did come down to the last game of the season, that the Nuggets would maybe rest Jokic and not care about the 1 seed. But the Nuggets are not very good on the road. I think they're just at 500, if not a tad above 500 on the road. They're very, very good at home. So the Nuggets are going to want to have home court advantage. So I am of the opinion everybody would play in that one, assuming everybody is healthy. But that would be insane. Let's just put it that way. That would be insane. The only downside to the 1 seed, and I said this earlier in the show, is you have to scout 4 teams because you don't know who's coming out of the play-in tournament. That is the only downside. In lieu of being able, if you're the 2, 3, 4, you're able to then, who you're going to play, and you can have that entire, whatever it is, 4, 5, 6 days to scout out who you're going to play. So, okay. Josh, you had the correct answer. You win a good job. No, if you had that, you win a t-shirt. Tweet me if you have Twitter at Ryan_in_Sacktown. Shoot me a tweet, buddy. So, all right. Yeah. High five. Yes, sir, MC. MC, thank you, by the way, for always. MC will all you guys stirring everybody up and getting them to like the channel, like the show, subscribe. We really appreciate you. We'll get one more score in. Kings. Ed says the Kings are going to be 127, Jazz 110. Well, there you go. All right. We are going to wrap things up, send you off with a couple minutes left to spare to hit the bathroom or pull your beer can chicken off the grill if you're John before the game starts. Thank you so much for joining the show. Again, Grant is going to be running his halftime show and post-game show as normal. So do not forget to come back for halftime and come back for the post-game. Kings Jazz here in just a couple minutes. Go Kings, light the beam. We will see you at halftime. Thank you so much for tuning in.